Hello, everyone. I'm George from Ireland, wishing a tardy St. David's Day to Welshmen and Welshwomen everywhere because it's the 1st of March is St. David's Day. It marks the day that St. David died in the year 589 Anno Domini. And people mark this day by wearing daffodils and leeks, which are symbols of Wales. Now, the leek partly because the Welsh soldiers fighting on behalf of was it Edward III fought in the Leek Garden at the Battle of Crecy and distinguished themselves. If you watch Henry V by Shakespeare, that Welsh character reminds him of that. So eating Welsh food like the caul, wearing Welsh folk dress for women. I don't know what men's Welsh folk dress is. So the cowl, is that pronounced a caul? Cawl is this this broth, right? With vegetables like lamb, beef, Swedes, as in turnip, leeks. Potatoes been added since the 17th century. People brought potatoes back from the American continent. So celebrated by the Welsh diaspora, and actually Patagonia, southern Argentina, has got a significant Welsh-speaking community, the only Welsh-speaking community outside of the United Kingdom. So curious enough, it's not a bank holiday, but some people in Wales said there ought to be, and so forth. But Saint David was only canonized in the 12th century by Pope Calixtus II, so presumably the day wasn't marked until then. So Saint David was indeed Welsh. Whereas our patron saint in Ireland, St. Patrick, he came from the western coast of Great Britain. We often say Wales, but Wales hadn't been reified at the time. It might be what we now call Wales or England or Scotland. We don't really know. So anyway, St. David was a princeling of the royal house of Ceredigion. That's like cardigan in English. He founded a monastery at Glyn Rossin in Pembrokeshire, and that's where St. David's is today. Because St. David's is the smallest city in the United Kingdom by area. It's got about 1,000 people, where St. David's Cathedral is. So it's an aesthetic, as in rejecting the material world. Yes, you need to eat, but do almost nothing else. He supposedly established over 1,000 monasteries, but this is the time when Great Britain or Wales wasn't particularly Catholic, it was Christian. But of course, until the Schism of 1054, there's no separation between Western and Eastern Christianity. The Celtic Church, like in Ireland and England, Wales, Scotland, sort of did its own thing. I mean, communication was so slow. I think we had worship in vernacular, not in Latin at the time. So the cathedral he established became a focus of pilgrimage. And it's not till much later on that he was recognized as a saint. And then his dying words to the monks were, "Brothers, be ye constant. The yoke which with a single mind you've taken, bear ye to the end. Whatsoever you have seen with me and heard and keep and fulfill." Yoke, as in this is a metaphor, but it's what you put over the necks of oxen or horses to pull a plow, as it be heavy, it'd be galling, it'd be unpleasant, it'd be burdensome. But that's because if you take your oaths of poverty, chastity, obedience as a monk or indeed a nun, this is onerous, but you're proud to do it because you're doing your religious duty and all the rest of it. Certainly since the 17th century, St. David's Day was jubilated in England by the Welsh community there, but some people rather disliked it. People talked about Taffies, the Taff River, which flows through Cardiff. There's some cumrophobia in England at the time. I don't think anywhere else. So that is about him. So often there'll be Eisteddfod Fodú, I hope I pronounced it correctly, as in cultural festivals, as in poetry declamations, singing, music, dancing, all the rest of it. Some children were given a half day. Schoolgirls often wore Welsh national dress there. So Welsh regiments of the British Army would celebrate it. The Prince of Wales would visit Wales, and indeed William, Prince of Wales, has visited recently. So remember, the eldest son of the monarch is Prince of Wales, or I think even daughter, as of the late Elizabeth II, was she not Princess of Wales? And if there's a Prince of Wales, his wife is Princess of Wales. But they don't get that from birth; they get it later on. There could be an investiture, but I think they only started the investiture with Edward the Eighth, and so Charles III is seated, and his son, they made him Prince of Wales. They were going to have an investiture ceremony like happened to Charles at Carnarvon Castle in 1969, but the Welsh government, led by Labour under Mark Bradford, said that would be an apposite, would not be welcomed. Now, the crown is a reserved matter. That's for the government of the entire United Kingdom, not just the Welsh government. Nevertheless, His Britannic Majesty's government at Westminster level said, okay, we will go with the official advice of the Welsh government and we will not do that because we don't want to cause an incident. We don't want there to be booing and jeering. We want to work with the devolved administrations, not against them. Anyway, so people are playing will be flying the flag a lot. There's also a flag of St. David, which is like a saltire. No, sorry, not a saltire, which is like a big cross, a yellow on black cross. It was rarely seen, an alternative flag for Wales, not just the Welsh dragon. Okay, eating bara brith tea loaf. Of course, we only had tea since the 17th century. Welsh cakes, Welsh rarebit, which is that sort of cheese melted on bread. So there's put Worcestershire sauce, obviously Worcestershire's in England, and so on. So people used to call it Welsh rabbit and so on. There's no rabbit. Mustard, ale, Welsh lamb. So Wales is renowned for raising ovines. That's partly because it's often hilly and not particularly rich or fertile soil. Rains too much for many cereal crops, so it's good to be a cattle farmer, not cattle farmer, sorry, a shepherd there. And so on. So changing the guard outside Cardiff Castle and so forth, and Welsh shelters abroad have marked the day. So selling Welsh produce. So a day to rejoice in all things that are Welsh. And indeed, there's a reception in the United States in honor of the First Minister of Wales, but he doesn't visit every year, every other year, or she these days. It's Eluned Morgan. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So that's it. Well, what else about Wales, Scott? Is it 3.5 million people, about 5% of the population of the United Kingdom? There's the Welsh language, but only about 20% of people are native speakers. But since the late 90s, everyone in Wales had to do Welsh GCSE. Even from an Anglophone family, if they move into Wales later on, they're not actually remotely Welsh. Nevertheless, they must learn it. So it's bilingualism. I mean, I know people who left school in Wales in the 90s, even though Welsh through and through can't speak it. That's it. And it had devolution since 1999. It passed by a whisker, but it's now popular. And now I don't think anybody, including the Conservatives, is talking about getting rid of it. So it's a real stronghold of the Labour Party. And there have been 6 elections to the Welsh Parliament. Labour's won all 6 and looks like they'll win a 7th, not going anywhere. So what was the only administration within the United Kingdom that Labour controlled for a while? They didn't control Holyrood or Stormont, obviously, or Westminster or the London Assembly, maybe some county councils. That was it. So renowned for its singers and songstresses like Charlotte Church or Tom Jones or Cerys Matthews or Mary Hopkins. Who else can I think? Distinguished actors like Sir Anthony Hopkins. Rugger, brilliant at rugby, only been in the Football World Cup, was it twice? So yes, punching above its weight. Cwmru Ambeth, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Wales forever. Right. Thank you very much on my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon. Donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Toodaloo.